that in order to be considered a biggin on the football field, the baseline is 6'2", 310. And it'll vary from there, but in terms of brevity, I just went through the rosters on ESPN.com last year of all the SEC teams for last year's rosters and tallied up the biggins. Preston, do you remember what your biggest takeaways were? Pun intended.
Biggest takeaway was Tennessee. Tennessee, though they run the no huddle offense, they go quick. They like to get on the ball. Probably a lot of teams fake injuries against them because they're doing that no huddle type of thing very quickly. They had the largest amount of biggins by a substantial number. I believe it was like 17 or something. It was
17 on the offensive line alone.
Yeah, they were
20 total.
They seemed like they made a concentrated effort to do that. So that's the one that stood out to me the most.
So I went through on Phil Steele's magazine because he's got all the rosters 2-3 deep, and I looked at the lines of scrimmage for every team in the SEC and tallied up biggins for an updated number, and just to see who added the most and who lost the most. And remember, South Carolina was at 10th, which was tied for 15th. Or I guess it's maybe more like tied for 13th or 12th because there were a few teams with 10. There's some good news for Gamecock fans here because you know who added the most biggins over the offseason in the SEC?
Would that be South Carolina?
That would be the Gamecocks of South Carolina. They went from having 10 to 17 on the roster. They added 7 biggins to the roster. Most coming by way of transfer portal. Shed Surratt does count as a biggin who comes in this year as a true freshman. But Boaz Stanley, biggin. Nick Sharp, biggin. Ronnie Newsom, biggin.
I like it.
They added biggins this year and added more than every team in the SEC. And that puts them in the top half of biggins. Would you like to guess who lost the most? And this is really the most disappointing thing. I saw this and it kind of hurt me a little.
Not Archie. Yeah. Uncle Sam?
Uncle Sam.
Oh, no.
They're -8 in the biggin year to year.
Could be
index.
bad. Could be bad news.
It could be really bad. Because now they're losing recipes here, as the kids would say.
Yeah.
Sam Pittman prides himself on the biggins, and they are 8 down from last year. It did not replenish the room.
So let's go back to South Carolina, right? So
Yes.
you said they added how many?
7.
Added 7.
They went from 10 to 17.
A couple of those I projected as Boaz Stanley being maybe the most important transfer on the team because of the idea that he feels like he's going to be penciled in as the starter for this offensive line. Nick Sharp
from Wake Forest.
Coming in, another veteran who may be expected to play. But this also builds upon this idea that, hey, South Carolina's been recruiting on the offensive line. They've been recruiting extremely well. They've been bringing in a lot of guys, whether it's through the transfer portal or through regular old high school recruiting. They have been bringing in a lot of skilled athletes and a lot of biggins, and sometimes those circles even meet for some of these players. So it's time for the offensive line to really, really step up because they've been subpar for the past couple of years, but they've been saying, we've been hearing, we're going to get our guys. We're getting our guys, and they've been getting them.
Yep.
Lonnie Teasley's done a great job of doing that. Now is the point where you have all the pieces. They're going to have to execute and go out there and block people now.
And that's where really rubber meets the road. It's good to have a list full of guys that are really big, and it looks really good on paper that they have all of this excellent size. But that's when the teaching comes in after that. And then, of course, the one thing I've noticed too, Preston, a lot of the freshman class, because they have like the roster, and you'll see like a lot of the freshmen, most freshmen aren't coming in as biggins.
Mm-hmm.
They might be 6'6", but they might only be 295.
Believe they got a recruit from Kamari Blair over this weekend, an offensive lineman who's not quite in the big. I believe he's like 6'6", 280, right in that category. And that's fine because they're going to eat themselves into biggin territory.
Yes, and that's what you're hoping Josiah Thompson, because all that does not even include Josiah Thompson, who I think we are all in agreement is the best offensive lineman on this team, has the highest upside, had incredible growth throughout the season. From a football standpoint, he'd not grow any taller. He's still 6'7". Be cool if he did. Maybe get another inch or two on him. And then Lamont might be calling Shane to see if he can recruit him for some basketball services. They might need a rebounder, an additional rebounder this year.
107.5 The Game Podcasting is sponsored by Modern Exterminating, a family-oriented company. Professional, honest, and dependable pest control solutions. We're your one-stop shop for all pests. We do it all. We know what bugs you. Visit us online at pestfreesc.com. That's pestfreesc.com.